Hi, welcome to another video, and in this video I want to tell you a story about how I fell in love with reading books. So the story begins a long time ago when I was in the first grade of primary school, and I remember that I've been reading a lot of books and not not as much as I wish, or as much as maybe someone else would think is a lot, but I think I was reading like really enough. And then I remember when I was third grade, I read one book in 2 hours, and I remember turning the pages and I just couldn't stop reading because the book was so exciting. And because of that memory, I tell myself that I loved reading books always. So like from I was born with that passion for reading books. But then suddenly, somewhere around that, at maybe since fourth or fifth grade of primary school, I remember I stopped reading, and then I wasn't reading for maybe 4 or 5 years. And the everything changed when I was in second grade of high school. So the world made time for me for reading books. So as I said, I have a feeling that I always loved reading books, but I just didn't make time for that. And then the world made time for me. I had to be at home a little more than usually. And then I came across one book that I got as a present a long time ago for one of my birthdays. And then I thought, like, this is it. This is the right time to start reading that book. And that's how it started again. And that book is The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. And this is one of my favorite books so far yet. And because it's really the book I associate with starting and falling in love with reading books, like falling in love with reading books again, because actually like renewing that love. Because as I said, I have a feeling that I loved reading books from forever. Like since I was born, I loved reading books, and I have a feeling that that's something that I was born with. It's something inside of me, but I just didn't grow that enough. I didn't take enough time for that. But I started with that book because the first thing is that I respected and I still respect Mark Twain a lot, and I love his books. And the second thing is that and also cover and the title was really compelling for me, and I just wanted to read that book. And I remember reading that book really quickly, just turning the pages and wishing that the book will never end. And while I was reading that book, I found another book on personal finance, and I remember I read that book like in 2 days, because at that time I started also researching a bit more about economy and money and finance. And then when I found that book, I was like stunned. I was really shocked and actually happy, because that's something from more Croatian perspective. And actually I read that book so quickly. My mom got that book a long time ago, and she read that, and the book was like just on the shelf. And now I took that book and I read it really quickly. And those two books I associate with my new beginning with about reading books. So those are two books I associate with that beginning. And the thing I tell myself from that since then is that I really love reading books, and that really I now feel like my true self, that I really do regularly what I love, and that's reading. And really I believe that everyone can fall in love with reading books. And it's all about the story we tell ourselves. So if you tell yourself that you don't like reading books, that's too boring for you or whatever, then it's gonna be like that. And if you push that away, if you don't give it time, it will really be like that. And it's really about practicing and really trying regularly, because maybe it will be hard for you in the beginning, but when you do that enough and when you give yourself enough time, you will actually fall in love eventually. And the one huge lesson I think will help anyone who wants to start reading books, and actually for everyone who doesn't believe that fell in love with reading books. I think is first thing you should start with the books that seem interesting to you. So as I picked Huckleberry Finn, that's how you should pick any book that seems interesting and compelling to you. So if you find any book that has a compelling title, or that you love that author, or that you heard of him, just find a book that seems really like that it could be a good book. Pick that book and start reading. Few pages a day will be more than enough. Just start reading little by little, and then eventually you will actually come across, and you will realize one day that it's something you do regularly, and that's something that helps you, and you will love that. And the point is with finding next books is that as I found the book about personal finance, that's how you're gonna find the book that you're gonna read next. And from that point, when I started reading more often, the books were just coming to me by default. Like, just when I needed a book, the book came to me. So the point is not in chasing books, in finding, searching for books. Of course, you should search for them in order to find them sometime, but you will actually come across, even when you don't search for a book, you will find the book, and you'll realize that you want to read that book, and that's how you'll discover every next book that you want to read. So just start with reading the book that you find interesting, and that's how you will fall in love, and that's how you will discover any new books, and you're just gonna realize all those huge benefits. I'm gonna as well talk about them in future videos, but you'll realize when you start reading more often how amazing that is, and how much benefits the reading has for you. So that's my short story about falling in love with reading books, because maybe there are someone who doesn't love reading books right now, but I believe that everyone can fall in love with reading books. For me personally, I tell myself that I loved reading books since I was born, that it's something inside of me, and that's how you're gonna feel maybe. And also write down in the comment, how do you feel about reading books, and how did you fall in love with reading books. And I hope this story helps you, and that it inspired you to start reading books, and to start searching for a book that could help you fall in love with reading. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.